Yet again, humans have had some great, fantastic idea to try to terraform the world. We haven't managed to screw it up enough yet. So now with the modern technology and science, the same science behind COVID and vaccines and everything like this, we are applying that logic and that genius in order to try to help us suck CO2 out of the air. Blackrock, the biggest company in the world, has invested 550 million in Occidental's industrial scale direct air capture plants in order to suck out and extract CO2 from the atmosphere. The Texas-based Stratus facility is expected to be operational by 2025 and designed to capture 500 metric tons of CO2 every year. Now, humans haven't really had the best type of track record of doing things according to science and getting away with it without being hurt. If I remember correctly, or if I see every single day, there are many people that die from myocarditis, which was a scientific experiment put on the people, not the entire planet, but the people all over the entire planet. And there have been a lot of deaths, a lot of died suddenly. Footballers have died, celebrities have died, children, parents, teachers, everybody has died, dropping to their deaths for absolutely no reason and blamed on something else. So when we start sucking air out of the atmosphere and things go wrong in the world, what will happen? Oh, we'll blame it on the sun. We'll blame it on the moon. Remember, the reason why everyone was dying was because of COVID, not because of the flu or because of a car crash. Everyone that died, or a lot of people that died in car crashes or died for some spurious reason, were labeled as COVID deaths in order to push the figures up, in order to prove that the COVID was real. And then when we had injections, it was shown that that was actually helping the entire planet. And so that logic, that same thought control, that same type of brainwashing is going to be applied when they start sucking CO2 out of the air. Whenever science interferes in nature, we always screw up every single time. When we start to kill animals, we affect the local landscape. When we start to introduce killer bees, when we start to introduce by accident rats to New Zealand and they eat all the eggs off the floor of the birds and the birds start going extinct. That is human design, by human design introduction, whether conscious or by accident. We have an impact on the world, and we've done it in a plethora of different ways. What we have done, DDT, initially held as a miracle pesticide, DDT was later found to be persistent pollutant with harmful effects on wildlife. We introduced lead into gasoline to make the engines run better, and then we discovered it to be a neurotoxin with adverse health effects. Then we introduced invasive species into the world. The intentional or accidental introduction of native species had devastating consequences for native ecosystems, disrupting food chains and altering landscapes. Then we have fracking. We've drilled into the earth and allowed the oil into the water under the ground. And when you drink it, you're drinking oil and you get illnesses that science, modern science, can't get rid of. So what we do is we create damage to ourselves that we cannot fix. And if we apply the same logic to what Blackrock is doing, we will destroy the environment and we will not be able to heal the environment. The planet has its own integrity, it has its soul, it has its essence. It can look after itself, and if we keep going, it might just decide to get rid of us with a load of volcanoes and polar shifts or whatever else it has in store to get rid of a virus that should have been in synchrony, in a synchronistic event or a harmonious thing that lived alongside the earth. Science always tells you it knows best. Every single time, science knows, science says nothing because science doesn't speak with words. In the same way, God doesn't speak with words, and priests aren't the voice of God. Scientists are not the voice of science. In the same way that priests interpret the Bible in every which way they can to tell us how we should live is the same way that scientists interpret data. It's no more different than looking at tarot cards or astrology. Science gives facts. And the facts it gives depends on what you put into the equations. If you don't write the equations correctly and you don't put in the correct data, then the answer isn't going to be correct. Just because an equation gives you an answer and you've used science to get the answer doesn't mean that the answer is correct. We, the human, suffer from hubris. We think we are God. We think we are better. The scientists aren't to be trusted. Do you think that science just speaks to scientists and to no one else? Why? In the same way that God just speaks to priests and no one else? No way. We, the humans, we can understand Mother Nature. We can feel it with our hearts. We can see it with our eyes. Was that not the ideas behind shamanism? Is that not the ideas behind Wicca? Is that not the idea behind man and planet coming together and loving together? Surely it was the religion that made that separation and caused loneliness in men, that made him mad and put his mind over his heart. And surely science is the same thing, the cult of religion and the cult of science. It's the same. And what will rule the earth? Well, when it was Christianity and Islam and anything else that tried to rule the earth, surely its new progeny is AI intelligence, which will become in itself a god and tell us how to live and what to do. And then it too will become mad, and it too will start to hurt humans if we are not careful. This is called terraforming. Terraforming is when you try to change the planet, which is what Elon Musk is trying to do on Mars, where he's trying to put atomic bombs on both ends of the poles to heat up the planet, to melt the ice so that it is full of water. Doesn't sound like a great idea, does it? And that is called terraforming. And so if we are going to change the planet, what are we changing the planet for? What species of humans are we going to start making that live in this new world? Because this world that we're creating isn't for us, it is for something else. And if humans are going to link with AI, which is machinery, and we are to become cyborgs, is the world that we are trying to terraform by sucking CO2 out of the air, is that perhaps a world in which the new human species that we're trying to develop are going to live in? What madness, what madness, what madness.